No one in the grand mansion of Victor Hale understood the silence, not the doctors, not the therapists, not even Victor himself. His twin daughters, Lily and Liana, had not spoken a single word in over a year. Not since that night. Not since the accident that took their mother away. The once lively halls filled with laughter had turned into a place of whispers and quiet footsteps, as if even the walls feared making noise. Victor Hale, a self-made millionaire known for his sharp mind and colder heart, had tried everything money could buy. The best child psychologists flew in from across the world. Specialized tutors, emotional therapists, even experimental treatments, nothing worked. The twins would sit side by side, holding hands tightly, their big innocent eyes observing everything, yet saying nothing. It was as if their voices had been locked away somewhere unreachable. Servants came and went. Nannies tried their best, but none lasted long. The silence unnerved them. The twins' refusal to respond, even to the simplest question, made it feel like they were caring for living dolls rather than children. Eventually, Victor stopped expecting miracles. He buried himself in work, convincing himself that time would fix what he could not. Until one morning, when everything changed. Her name was Elena. She arrived without fanfare, no prestigious references, no polished resume filled with elite training. Just a simple young woman with kind eyes and a quiet confidence that didn't beg for attention. The housekeeper almost turned her away, but something made Victor pause. Perhaps it was exhaustion, or perhaps it was desperation disguised as curiosity. "You've worked with children like mine before?" Victor asked, his tone skeptical. Elena shook her head gently. "No, sir. But I've worked with children who were hurting." That answer should have been enough to dismiss her. Instead, Victor found himself saying, "You have 1 week." The staff exchanged doubtful glances. Another one, they thought. She'll be gone in days. But Elena was different. From the very first moment she met Lily and Liana, she didn't ask them questions. She didn't kneel down and beg for a response like the others had. She simply sat on the floor, a small distance away, and smiled. The twins watched her. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Still, she said nothing. The maids whispered among themselves. "She's not even trying," one scoffed. "She won't last." But Elena came back the next day. And the next. She brought no toys, no fancy gadgets, no therapy tools. Just herself. Sometimes she hummed softly, an unfamiliar melody that floated gently through the room. Other times, she would draw quietly on a piece of paper, not showing it to the girls, just letting them watch if they wanted to. Days turned into something unusual. The twins began to move closer. Not much, just inches at first. Then a little more. Victor noticed. For the first time in months, he stood by the doorway, watching without interrupting. Something about the scene felt different. There was no pressure in the air. No expectations. Just a quiet presence that seemed to comfort rather than demand. On the 5th day, something extraordinary happened. Elena brought a small wooden music box. It wasn't expensive. In fact, it looked old, slightly worn at the edges. She placed it gently on the floor and wound it up. A soft, delicate tune filled the room. Lily's fingers twitched. Liana leaned forward. Elena didn't react. She simply let the music play. Then, slowly, she opened the box to reveal a tiny spinning ballerina. The twins stared. And for the first time, something shifted in their expressions, not fear, not sadness, but curiosity. Elena smiled softly and, without saying a word, she began to mimic the ballerina. Slowly, awkwardly, she stood and twirled in place, her movements gentle and unpolished, almost childlike. It was unexpected. It was imperfect. And somehow, it was real. Liana's lips parted slightly. Victor held his breath from the doorway. Elena stumbled intentionally, pretending to lose balance, then laughed quietly at herself. It wasn't a loud laugh. It wasn't forced. It was soft, warm, human. Lily looked at her sister. Liana looked back. And then. A sound. So faint, so fragile, Victor almost thought he imagined it. A giggle. It came from Liana. The room froze. Elena didn't react dramatically. She didn't rush forward or celebrate. She simply sat back down, as if nothing extraordinary had happened. But Victor knew. Everything had changed. The next day, Elena did something even more surprising. She spoke. But not to the twins. Instead, she began telling a story aloud, as if reading to herself. Once upon a time, she said softly, there were two little stars who forgot how to shine. The twins listened. Because they thought the night had taken all their light away. Elena's voice was calm, soothing, filled with quiet emotion. But they didn't know the light was still inside them. It was just waiting for the right moment to come back. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Liana squeezed her hand tighter. Victor felt something tighten in his chest. And then, the moment that would change everything forever. Lily whispered. Barely audible. Stars don't forget. Victor stepped forward in shock. The maids gasped. But Elena raised her hand gently, stopping everyone. She looked at Lily, her eyes warm and steady. You're right, she said softly. They don't. Liana looked at her sister, then at Elena. And in a trembling voice, she added, they just hide. Tears streamed down Victor's face. For over a year, he had waited. Prayed. Hoped. And in just 1 week, this woman had done what no one else could. Not with money. Not with pressure. But with patience and understanding. That night, as Victor stood alone in his study, he realized something he had been too blind to see before. His daughters hadn't lost their voices. They had lost their safety. And Elena had given it back. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us that sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness can heal the deepest wounds. And you won't want to miss what happens next.